Good afternoon and welcome to the Expedia Races. We have a show for you today. Hey, Optimus. Nice new look. Yes, Cliff Jumper. I needed to keep up with you, so I souped myself up a little. This is a 2-lap race. Yay! Start your engines! On your mark, get set, go! And they're rounding the bend. You're not going anywhere. Whoa! Look at that crash! Out of my way! Zooming along the straightaway. First lap. Whoa! Look at that crash! Hey. Zooming along the straightaway. Yay! Out of my way. This is supposed to be a race, not a demolition derby. And he's out of the running. Oops, the race is mine. Yay! And we have a winner. Yay. Dragstrip has won the race. Yay. Congratulations. Yay. Dragstrip. Yay! Hello, Lego Transformers fans. This is Soundvox with another exciting episode of Lego Transformers. Here we have Dragstrip. Dragstrip is a Stunticon. They are a member of the Decepticons that have car modes. Megatron was sick of the Autobots having speed and land dominance as cars, so he decided to build his own cars with superpowers, and they were known as the Stunticons, a group of reckless cars that cause damage. So Dragstrip is always my favorite to start with, and he is also the first Stunticon that was released in Legacy, the new Transformers toy line, Dragstrip. Here is the Combiner Wars toy. Now, I had originally built Dragstrip off this Combiner Wars toy, and this Combiner Wars toy is simply a Mirage Formula 1 repaint. Well, that's not what the original Dragstrip was. No, not at all. Instead, he was a very experimental race car. I believe there was only one of his type built. He has 6 wheels, a large back wheel, and 2 smaller front wheels. And he has an engine sticking out the back, and a little cockpit area where he could sit, the driver could sit in. So Dragstrip was a very experimental car. The Legacy version and the original G1 version kept these qualities. I do like the Legacy version. However, since I have Menasor in the Combiner Wars, I won't be buying the Legacy figures except for Wild Rider, because I did not get a Wild Rider with the Combiner Wars. Instead, I had to get that off-road Transformer. Okay, well, back to Dragstrip, because he's the important character of the day. So I used a dark maroon wedge both on his tail and on the front to simulate Dragstrip's stripe going down, because he's a yellow car with a dark red stripe. In addition, you can see how I use these binocular pieces to be the engine parts that are sticking out, because Dragstrip has some exhaust engine parts sticking out. And to put his additional wheel on, I used a yellow piece that has a curve to it. These 2 stud curve pieces are really useful. I've got 2 different color yellows in here. One that's more of a cheese colored and one that's a regular standard yellow, to give him kind of a different look. Since he's mostly yellow, I wanted to break up the look a little bit. And this cheese colored yellow is more closely representative of his actual G1 figure. So that's also good as well. A last minute modification is I put these little exhaust ports on his back. I thought it would look great having some actual exhaust ports coming out of the vehicle. So there's Dragstrip in his vehicular mode. You saw him in action in the races. Now let's get a quick size comparison with some other Lego characters. So first we'll start with Cliffjumper, my smallest of my cars. He is the Autobot car, and both in the original G1 and in further incarnations, Cliffjumper has always been smaller than Dragstrip. So this shows that he is pretty good size compared to Cliffjumper. Then here's Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is once again a big truck. So while Dragstrip does have the length of Optimus Prime, because he's a very long character, he is only half as high. Optimus Prime's vehicular mode is twice as high as Dragstrip, so that makes sense because Optimus Prime's a truck. And let's see how he stacks up next to Thundercracker. The idea here, Thundercracker being a Seeker, one of my first Transformers, kind of give you a size comparison between how the Transformers have been going. As you notice, my scale has creeped up a little bit, but I believe the benefits of the slight scale increase really shows through on articulation, transformation, and design. And so now we'll compare him to a Lego minifigure. Of course, these Transformers are not in scale with Lego minifigures, but I used the minifigure to kind of give you a size comparison so you know how big these guys are. If I did make them all in scale with minifigures, I'd probably run out of Legos really quickly. Okay, without further ado, let's begin Dragstrip's transformation. So to transform Dragstrip, first thing we can do is fold down his hood assembly. And this actually folds almost like a backpack. Then we will take and rotate his arms up. Now the neat thing with these extra wheels in this piece, you can kind of rotate it up a little bit, and that gives it a little bulk in the shoulder. Now these arms are on one stud right there. I use a jumper plate to go from 2 studs to 1. So stud friction is going on in this mode. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit because he's getting taller as we transform him, as most of the Transformers do. Now we can separate his legs. His legs, I put a little ratchet in there, a little ratcheting joint. I did that just so we could separate them, so it kind of looks like he has 2 separate legs. I don't move both of them out because then it looks like he's doing a split. We're going to rotate those exhaust ports in. Because his leg is a little bit hollow, it allows perfect storage for the exhaust ports. And then he can stand up. Now we'll rotate his hands out. And once again, his hands are just little Lego hand pieces that are on one stud. So we use stud friction to rotate them out. I have to say, even though I used many older pieces with him, as far as some of these yellow Lego pieces go, they are holding quite well for using single stud friction. And then we rotate his chest. And here we have Dragstrip in robot mode. If I turn him sideways, You can kind of see his hands a little better. I know all the yellow kind of blends in. So let's take a look at him now. So for Dragstrip's head, I use a cone that connects into his body, and then I have single studs here, a translucent orange one for his eyes, and a dark red one for the top of his head, which the Legacy and original G1 figure, he had dark red on his head. So that makes perfect sense. And in the cartoon, the original G1 cartoon. I like the rotation I made by putting a 6 flat plate with a 2 stud flat plate underneath it, so I could use the single stud to stick into a single block with a hole in the top, and that way I was able to cause rotation, so I can rotate his chest, so we could get his engines down in vehicle mode and put him up on chest level for robot mode. I think that really adds to the character. It really helps with the build, and that was something that the G1 toy actually did. The motor actually slid up when he became robot mode, so it did kind of go up into his chest more. I love how the color breakout is here. You have the older yellow, then you have this cheese yellow wedge and this cheese yellow knee, and you have this dark red. These colors work very well for him. In addition, I used purple jumper plates here to give him those purple lines that kind of break up the yellow a little bit. And I use a lighter yellow fold over piece to connect them on. He does have a lot of flat jumper plates. There's 2 here, 2 in there. So that just really makes him look very smooth. I got a few studs showing, but not many studs on this Lego Transformer. So now we are going to compare him to some Transformers to show the size comparison. First, we'll start with the minifigure. Here's our little minifigure. And once again, even though my Transformers are not in scale with minifigures, they still tower over the minifigure once you transform them. And let's bring Thrust in here. So much like the original G1 show, Thrust is about the same size as Dragstrip. In the G1 show, most of the robots were pretty much the same size when they transformed to robot mode, which was weird. The toys, they were not, though, of course. The toys' Dragstrip was much smaller than the Secret Jets. But I like their size comparison for my Lego Transformer characters, because as we know, these guys are not in scale. And I just love the way this figure turned out. Let's do a little 360 rotation so you can see him from all angles. Even his back looks good because the studs are covered by his hood. Okay, and now we'll bring in the Combiner Wars figure in robot mode. So here we have the robot Dragstrip. And I have to zoom out a little bit just to capture him in the picture. And we're actually going to have to move the camera a little bit. So as we can see here, a regular deluxe figure kind of towers over my little Lego Transformers. Though he's not really meant to look like this Dragstrip. My older version was, but I didn't like the way that version looked. So this version is much more G1 and much more like the Legacy and the G1 version. I like the way he turned out. I think he turned out great. He looks wonderful. His design is great. His color breakout is wonderful. So I'm very happy with the way that this Lego Transformer turned out. So if you liked this episode, please leave a comment and tell me what you think. And leave a like. And if you want to see more exciting episodes of Lego Transformers. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you.
Hey! They cheated!
You should turn in that trophy.
Goodbye! Ha 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 ha!